Tri-Waco, the Greater Waco Chamber of Commerce's annual Olympic and Sprint Distance Triathlon will begin at 6:30 a.m. on Sunday, July 9th at Indian Spring Park. Over 900 participants are expected for this event. The race starts with a point-to-point open water swim in the Brazos River, followed by a flat and fast bike ride on the spectator-friendly roads near the river, and finishes with a run along the Brazos River through Cameron Park, finishing on the famous suspension bridge. Tri-Waco will again include relay options, as well as the aqua bike races. Online registration is open through Friday, July 7th, 2023 at triwaco.org. The Tri-Waco Triathlon is presented by Bicycle World. Again, online registration is open through Friday, July 7th, 2023 at triwaco.org.
Welcome to the Mysteries of the Paranormal. I'm your host, Alison. Here, I'll talk all about mythology, folklore, and cryptids. Hello, and I guess welcome to, Mysteries of the Paranormal. And then we also have a very, very loud breather over there. Would you like to disclose who you are?
Not now.
No, well, man, that's disappointing. Too bad it's Mason. So,
can't do shit these days. Can't even fucking breathe. You know, I'm doing it wrong apparently.
So,
why does this remind me of home? Both homes. My home growing up, and now my home now.
Welcome to adult life. So, get over it. Mason is a, I guess, coworker and fellow podcaster.
Yes.
So, you know.
I mean, you did me a favor by being on Bibliophobia. So I'm doing.
Is that what that is?
That's what the show was, yeah. And we'll be back at some point. I'm aiming for July.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
So if you like books, go tune in.
Bibliophobia on roguemedianetwork.com.
Yeah. So this is, of course, Mysteries of the Paranormal. I really just want to talk to you about, like, what's the difference between superstition, legend, folklore, and what was the other one? Oh yeah, mythology.
Okay, can I take a guess first before we get started? Okay, so you said superstition, legend, folklore, and mythology?
Yes.
I want to say legend. Legends, I want to say, typically come from an historic event that happened, but it's just been amplified to where it becomes a legend. Mythology was a belief system that is just now, because it's debunked by, the various religions overthrowing that religion, now it's just fun story. And folklore is, I want to say, tall tales that had sense of essence of, like, realism and truth. Like this, like, I want to say, isn't would you say Huck Finn is no, that's not folklore. But, like, like The Boy Who Cried Wolf, that's like I would say that's like some type of folklore story, where it's like, it's a life lesson, but, like, it's also totally probably a actual thing that happened. That's my guess. And then what was the last one?
So myth, legend, folklore, superstition.
Superstition, I'm guessing just people's paranoia. It's where someone just started doing something, started believing something, and then spread that to others, and where they know it's not real, but, like, it's the idea of, like, what if it is? Am I in any of the ballparks? I'm not that smart.
So yes, on some of them, but also no.
Of course not. I'm not that smart.
A superstition is a belief that was widely held but is unsustainable. So it's kind of like
White after Labor Day, or
or like
step on a crack.
Yeah, step on a crack, break your mama's back. You spill salt, throw it over your left shoulder, kind of thing. So it's a thing that's, like, has no actual differences to a person.
You can't prove it.
Yeah, you can't prove anything as far as to what it does.
Wait, did you say spilling salt already?
Yeah, so, like, spilling salt, throwing it over your left shoulder, kind of thing. Like,
remember that episode of Grim Adventures of Billy and Bandy? Spilling salt brings bad luck.
Yeah, so it's pretty much what it is. And so that's kind of like one of those widely known things that everybody believes, but is not a thing. And for theater kids, a lot of it's also like you can't say the Scottish play's real name on stage. Otherwise, bad things are going to happen. Do you know what the Scottish play is?
No, but it's probably a play that takes place in Scotland, was written by a Scot.
So,
because they all they're to the American English language, it's the way they spell and pronounce things is very different from ours.
So it's actually a Shakespeare play, and it's Macbeth. So you're not allowed to say Macbeth on a stage, in a theater, around a theater for like whatsoever.
But don't they say his name like 1,000 times during the play? Or do you mean just like outside of the play?
Outside of, you have to be performing the play itself in order to say it. Outside of that, it's the Scottish king, Scottish queen, Scottish play. And it's because it takes place in Scotland. And so that's where you get all that kind of stuff. And so like for theater kids, that's a thing. You can't do that.
You would be a theater kid.
I have an associate's in theater, so yeah.
God.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's kind of like one of those things. Oh my God.
I didn't mean to cringe that hard. I apologize to everyone listening.
Mason.
I've had a long day. I've been painting all day.
Is my degree that cringeworthy to you?
No.
I was gonna say, please
I
don't
love theater. I love theater. I'm glad you did it.
I was gonna say, please don't actually answer that. But moving on from a superstition into a myth, that is a traditional story that is used to explain history to people or natural phenomena. So like back in the day, trying to explain a tornado to somebody.
Or
and it's
I
like
guess when the Vikings were trying to explain what the hell lightning is, and they just say, it's Thor.
Yeah, that
Somehow.
kind of thing. It's something trying to refer to supernatural that involves supernatural beings, events such as Greek gods, Roman gods, that kind of stuff, which is a little bit interesting because that's where you get into like crossover. And then this website that I found, that it's irishmyths.com, explain it as a myth that is a symbolical story concerning with the origins of people, their world, or other natural phenomenon.
Yeah, it comes from Scotland.
This one it's a website that's called irishmyths.com. And so that's how they explain it. And so it just depends on your kind of where you believe things and how you believe things.
Now what about legends? What's a legend?
So
other than me.
So legend is a popular or traditional story which is associated with a particular person or place, and it is believed to be part of a true history. So something that actually happened, and people without any kind of like actual evidence just kind of believe it.
Well, that's kind of like what I said.
Yeah.
Like the legend of I guess Paul Bunyan. No, I'm trying to think.
This one gives an example of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Where a lot of people believe, he was... Was
he even a real guy? I feel like he was, but he wasn't.
It's kind of like one of those things that King Uther banished his son because of blah, blah, blah. He lived in as a poor kid and then pulled the sword out of the rock to be...
Excalibur.
Yeah. So...
Was there a quote-unquote wizard, Merlin? That's the only other guy I ever remember. And I guess Gawain, because of the Green Knight.
Yes, that's part of like that whole... legend. Okay. Also, fun fact, just to play part of that, Merlin was actually a Slytherin, if you're into the whole Hogwarts kind of thing. So, yeah, if you really wanted to know what kind of house he was sorted in, he was a Slytherin.
Oh, man.
So, and it's believed that Merlin was one of the only few wizards that came out of Slytherin that actually did good. Whereas you have a lot of they're all dicks basically. Yeah. But Merlin was one of the few that actually came out that did good.
Well, that and doesn't in Cursed Child, isn't Harry's son put in Slytherin because of course he would be, doesn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, I only read the Cursed Child once. It was
either
not good.
I've never read it, but I think he did get put in Slytherin. But that's also because Harry was supposed to be put in Slytherin.
I haven't read those books in freaking forever. Yeah. Anyway, we did superstition, we did legend, we did myth.
Yes.
And what was folklore? Because I love the word folklore. I just never understand I actually never knew what the hell the definition of it was.
So, according to the Irish website, they say that it is a fictional story that is passed down among common people and is often rooted in superstition. Unlike myths, they're not considered sacred, truthful to the storyteller or the listener, and they are told solely for entertainment.
What is an example of folklore? At least does it give one, at least?
So, in the book that I've been using, it says traditional customs, beliefs, stories of a particular community that are passed down from generation to generation. They are verbal communication of stories among community members. So I'm assuming it's stuff like what you would hear in like...
You'd have to be in a small town.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Being really invested in your community.
Yeah.
Because I honestly, I don't talk to anybody outside of anybody I have to talk to here.
Yeah.
So I never talk to people.
I would say traditionally, what really comes to mind is kind of like the whole story of Noah's Ark kind of thing. Like,
I guess,
that's one of those things that was passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah, and then written in the book that became the Bible.
Yeah, but that's something that I would say, like, the only thing that can really comes to mind, really.
Okay, I can see that.
I mean, and it's also like one of those things that...
Do you have a I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you have of the four, which do you enjoy talking about, researching the most?
You know, they're all very...
That is a non-answer.
I don't know. And it's also because I haven't done a whole lot of, like, in-depth research about any of them.
I'm surprised your answer wasn't superstition, honestly, just because of poltergeists and terrifying tales. So
I do like superstitions, but that's also because in the theater world, there is a lot. Like, the Scottish play, you don't walk under a ladder. You don't walk over somebody's legs because it could break them. That's also why you say break a leg instead of good luck. So I thought it was just a thing just because theater people love to be different. Theater kids are very superstitious. So it's kind of like almost in my nature to be superstitious because it's just one of those things. I do like folk tales just because of the fact that they're kind of there and they're just stories. And maybe I also like stories. Yeah, I do like to hear a good story. And maybe that's kind of goes back to being a theater kid because that's all theater is telling stories. So maybe that's why I enjoy it. But maybe mythology because I get to learn about different people's cultures. That is a good answer. For me, it's mythology just because I like grandiosity. Like, particularly the Norse, the Greek, the Roman gods, and even the Japanese and Egyptian and all the gods that aren't JC. No offense, JC. But I don't know. It's the grandiosity and the epicness, and just a lot of them are tragic and really messed up, but they're just, I don't know, there's just something cool about them. It's like, when would any of these the people who believe in these things, when would any of this have actually happened? Yeah. Please give me an answer. And I think that's what makes mythology so interesting, because you have stuff like the Odyssey that happens. Yeah, it's rooted in mythology, but based on a real story. Yeah. Which is crazy. And so you get situations like that also, real quick, Odysseus, a shitty husband. Just want to throw that out there. I mean, yes. He is. Yes. He was gone for 20 years. Not his fault, but he didn't have to shack up with that what was that goddess's name? The one he shacked up with for like 10 years. I mean, that's very typical godlike, though, if you think about it. Yeah, but he could have said no. I mean, she wasn't like forcing him. He could have said, nah, I love my wife. I mean, same thing with Zeus, though. Zeus was known with sleeping with other women, with quote unquote mortals. He was like, that was his thing. Yeah, I know. I'm not comparing Odysseus to a god, but like, you can't stop what a god does. Odysseus could have controlled himself. I mean, oh no, I'm just being a contrarian. Yeah, just being an a-hole. I don't know. I just think that it's like one of those things that you see a lot of that
Also, Polyphemus did nothing wrong. I'm
Yeah,
kidding. I'm kidding.
I mean, but you see a lot of that kind of stuff going on in mythology. Like from what I've been reading, there's in Mori, it's the Polynesian mythology. Like you see that happen too. Like one of it's either that or Egyptian. I kind of forget. I need to reread it. But
I can't believe I never thought that. I need to do research about. I never know it was called Maori, Polynesian mythology.
Maori.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And do more research into that.
Yeah, that's their mythology system, and I believe it's either that or Egyptian, but one of them, the dad basically slept with his daughter, and then within 9 days the daughter gave birth. That kid grew up and then slept with basically his granddaughter. His granddaughter then had a kid. 9 days later was fully grown, and then slept with it. Like he kept doing this trend of sleeping with like his
kin.
Yeah, his own kin.
Well, let's be honest. Incest, that's not exclusive to that. Incest is kind of all over all mythology.
Yeah. That's what's interesting about mythology is that you find those references from all cultures. And like Mike and I actually were recorded an episode for this coming week that will actually air after this one that talks about that same thing, that cultures kind of are intertwined, and depending on which region, there's very subtle differences and within those.
But also a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
Well, I guess just because the human experience, while so different, is also very universal.
Yeah. I mean, you look at like even languages. We, like here in Texas, a lot of the time we say y'all. You go up north to New York, they're going to say you guys. Same language.
Yeah.
Just
I find myself
difference.
texting y'all a lot more than I ever I realize now, like, I text that way too damn much. I mean, I don't care.
Yeah,
I do it. I even leave it on damn Twitter and YouTube comments. Like, y'all be doing something stupid. But,
I mean,
it's funny.
It's something as simple as that, though. Like, the language you speak could be so different, even though it's the same language.
Yeah.
But that's what's interesting about this. And urban legends, to kind of just...
The only thing urban I know is a dictionary.
Oh, my God. You know what, Mason?
You're regretting me having me, aren't you?
It makes it very entertaining because, you know, it's... the bad thing is I purposely make Mike sit on the episodes I know that things he's going to be like, what? I'm sorry. The fuck is this? And so that's what I find enjoyable with him.
Mm-hmm.
The one I recorded that's going to come out after this one was about the blood clot and then Rabbit Boy and Native American mythology.
There's a rabbit boy in Native American mythology?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to have to listen to that.
So,
where can they listen to this, Alison?
Wherever you get your podcast or at roguemedianetwork.com.
Oh, I'm sorry. I cut you off before you were going to say urban something. Urban what? What were we talking about before I derailed us?
That's normal. Don't worry. Have you seen Polter?
Mm-hmm.
Derails 90% of the time. Anyway, urban legend. It is a unique way of stories being passed off that are factual. And a lot of these stories are actually caused to gain widespread believers. So legends that are known to be a thing and then just kind of grow from there. Examples of these.
Did you know that heroes get remembered, but legends never die? The Sandlot, 1990-something.
Wow. You're going to reference it and then not even know the... Wow. I'm just
Do you
kidding.
know who said it in the movie?
Definitely. You know what?
I know you know this.
Oh, it is... It
was Babe Ruth.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't want to like... Oh, my God. I was like, I don't want to sound like bad, but I was like, dude, name, come on, name.
The Great Bambino.
The wimpy deer. Anyway, so examples of legends are alligators in the sewers, the rattlesnake in the fur coat, the hookman tales, basically just all these kind of like stuff. And then,
like you see in movies all the time, even though, you know, like if you could look at an actual sewer, there's no way in hell an alligator actually fits in that damn thing. Yeah,
and then another one that's probably more common is Slender Man.
But wasn't that more of a... That started as a creepypasta, though.
Yes. And so
Maybe
that...
it just became an urban legend?
Yeah, so that's one of those kind of, like, urban legends that kind of, like, came about because the internet picked it up.
Mm-hmm.
And fun fact, that actually started off as a guy drawing him out, like digital drew him, and then submitted it, and then people just kind of like went crazy on the internet because he pushed it out on the internet, and so that's why it's
his fault. So it's all his fault.
Now an urban legend because of that. And so
I wonder if he got any royalties from that. Probably not.
I don't know. I mean, it's everywhere though.
You can't. Well, I guess if you didn't copyright it, you can't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I don't know. At this point, I don't know why you would want it.
No, and there's so many stories involving him now, though. And I forget. I heard it because I was listening to Believing the Bizarre. It's another paranormal kind of podcast, and they're talking about
Judas,
that whole kind of thing, Slender Man, and it was entertaining. So.
That sounds cool. That's cool. Yeah. Well, after the Rapid Boy episode, what else can people look forward to? Have you not planned that far ahead yet?
You know what? That's a great question. Probably a little bit more mythology. Of course, the usual. Cause
more Native American mythology? You're gonna jump continents?
I don't know. I want to be doing different mythologies and different. I want to try to hit Europe. Because they're the ones that have like all those, like, it's different cultures compared to what we're used to over here.
Yeah, well, because they're all like right next to each other.
And so I think it'd be interesting to see their mythologies, and I've read a little bit about the Egyptian mythologies, and that seems...
It's really fascinating, really.
It's really interesting, and so I have an alien episode that I'm going to be doing, and that one seems... they talk a lot about the Egyptians and the hieroglyphics and everything, and it questions if they even got help from aliens and stuff like that. So
which I disbelieve, just because I think people started that theory just because they couldn't believe that people of color could build shit.
Dude,
but I mean,
okay, hold up. You're the second person that has said that today. So I mentioned that same thing to Debbie on Poltergals. So if you want to listen to that episode, go tune in, because Debbie had some stuff to talk about it too. Yeah. And she said the same exact thing that
I love aliens, and it'd be cool if they visited before, but let's not pretend that that's not why that theory started.
Yeah, and truth be told, yes, I do think that there is some invalidity in it because of that same reason, like the fact that they just want to knock people of color down due to the fact that they think that they're not as capable. Yeah. When truth be told, they're fully capable of just as much. I mean, think about it.
It's a pyramid. It's a pyramid going up. It's really not that hard.
No.
Especially if it's all made by slaves. We all know this.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that they quite literally started from the ground up. Let's face it. It's not hard. You're basically building steps for yourself. Yeah,
it took a lot of work, and I know there's stuff underneath them. Like, there's stuff underneath the pyramids, right? Yeah, it's a whole thing. But again, the outside pyramids is just blocks, just a lot of blocks, and then a lot of blocks on top of that, and then less and less and less and less and less.
So
it's really not that complex.
I don't discredit the fact that the amount of work and...
Hey, it took a lot, but it's not like insane.
Now, it's just, it adds that kind of like, oh, this is interesting. Like, maybe they did get help. But
it would be fucking crazy though. Like, that would be cool, kind of low key, kind of cool, kind of disappointing, but also kind of cool.
Yeah. But truth be told, it's like, can you really, like, them just building it is far more believable than them just
some aliens like coming down and like pick this one patch of land and we're like, build these. Yeah. We'll come back in a couple thousand years.
Or even if they like were building it and then all of a sudden aliens, it's like, oh, look, y'all are building stuff. We'll help you. Like, I don't know, but it was one of those things. And so that's why I was kind of interested in reading that. And
I'm not trying to discourage you from reading it.
No, and that's the thing, is that it's interesting because it adds like a different element, almost like it adds a different look at things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, to be fair, like I said, far more believable that they just built it.
Yeah.
But
and again, when you have thousands of slaves, it's you can make anything.
Exactly. So it's like, of course, that king, that pharaoh, was literally just like, oh yeah, just build me that pyramid. I'm gonna sit here and sip on my juice while I watch you build this thing. Like, we all know that that's what happened. Let's face it. Yeah. Like, who knows what he was drinking? Juice, wine, beer,
it was wine,
whatever.
all wine. It was only wine or water.
Whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just because I found this one really fast, but
sorry, I keep derailing that.
No, dude, I'd rather have stuff like this because it's more entertaining. You know, it's a fairy tale.
I love fairy tales. Yeah. I recently read the fairy tale book by Stephen King called Fairy Tale. It is very good. I've also read the fairy tale manga called Fairy Tale. Not good, in my opinion. It's not good. For anybody who likes anime manga out there, Fairy Tale, low. It's not even mid. It's just low.
Just low.
Okay, it's not that bad. It's got good parts. It was good, and then it just wasn't. That's my opinion. I'm derailing you again.
So
Fairy
it started
tales.
at a 10 and then like plummeted down.
I didn't say 10. It started off like good. It had good, then there was really good, and then it's just kind of and then like maybe good, and it's like
So basically went to a 5, then maybe a 7, then dropped down to a 4.
I would say start as an 8, then went down to 7, back up to 8, back to 6, then 5, then 4, and then kind of a 7 again. I stopped reading after Tartarus, and then I tried picking it back up. For anybody listening, you're not gonna know what the fuck I'm talking about, but I don't know. I just didn't like how it ended. No one died. No one ever fucking died. How am I supposed to take your villains seriously if they are killing literally nobody except faceless fodder, civilians, and soldiers?
Well, it's a good thing it was a fairy tale, quite literally.
It's not, but it's not spelled. It's fairy with the tail, like the tail, like of a cheetah tail. I was bringing it. So this is a whole sidetrack. Anybody who disagrees, you can email. What's Mike's phone number? Message Mike, and he'll relay it to me.
They're throwing Mike under the bus, like just like that.
Thank you.
Wow.
But you were saying about fairy tales.
So, this is a fictional story, Mason. You need to understand that.
Oh, really? I couldn't have guessed.
So, Mr.
Wait, so you're telling me there's not really a werewolf who dresses in women's clothes and eats little girls?
No.
There's not a universe under a tree that some blonde chick fell into with a talking cat?
No. I'm sorry to break it to you.
This is some bullshit, man.
Man, if
I eat a poison apple, my true love won't come and kiss me and bring me back to life?
No. Sorry, honey boo boo. You dead.
This is some bullshit. Disney's lied to me my whole life.
So, like you mentioned, they're just fairy tales, fictional places, people, things.
Do you have a favorite fairy tale?
Not really. I'm not a big fan of those kinds of, like, I was never a fan of Snow White. I was really never a fan of Cinderella.
Not even the Brothers Grimm stuff? I figured you liked the Brothers Grimm stuff.
I haven't read it yet. I have the book, like the complete collection of them, and I haven't read them. Like, and by like Cinderella and that kind of stuff, like the stereotypical
the Disney stuff,
yeah,
which count as fairy tales.
Yeah, but those kinds of things. Now, Brothers Grimm, Cinderella, I haven't read it, but I know bits and pieces. Like,
I think I know that part is that when they put the shoe on, they like break their shit. They like cut their toes off and stuff.
One of them cut their toes off. The other one like cut part of their heel off, and like I know bits and pieces of it.
Look, I know he's Prince Charming, but like he can't be that good looking.
Yeah. So
but anyway.
Yeah. So I know of some stuff, but not really enough for me to say I like it or dislike it. But Disney, Cinderella, it's just kind of like everybody knows it, everybody watches it. So I'm just like, it's another Disney thing.
You don't even like Hansel and Gretel?
I mean, it's okay. It's not my favorite.
There's only, well, to be honest, you failed me again. There's only one correct fairy tale answer. There's only one correct answer for your favorite fairy tale. And I'll let you guess it. It's got 5 letters. Starts with an S.
I got nothing for you.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Shrek.
I don't.
Fucking idiot.
I mean, correct, but.
I'm sorry. I should have called you an effing idiot. I'm sorry.
But, I mean, I don't know. I'm not even a big fan of Shrek. I'm really, like, I'm really not. Like, I'm one of those oddballs that it's just, I'm not even, like.
For those who can't see us, I'm giving her very angry eyes right now.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Shrek is love. Shrek is life.
I mean, I'm not gonna, like, discredit that because my nieces love Shrek. But
what are you saying? Are you saying I have the enjoyment of a young children?
No.
You're saying you call me immature, Alison?
No, and like even the person that got them into Shrek is a 28-year-old dude. He loves Shreks, and like, I don't know, like he's the reason why they love Shrek so much, and he's one of our, and by our, me and my brother's close friend, and so. He's the reason why they're into it, and he will literally go out and buy them Shrek stuffed animals, Shrek's everything.
I like this man. He sounds cool. I'm just kidding. I don't love Shrek that much either, but I like it.
I just don't really like it.
Are you ready to wrap this episode up, or do you want to?
Know.
I keep derailing you. I'm sorry.
You know what? After that, I think so.
Maybe
I'll go talk about ogres later. Maybe.
You should. And talking donkeys. And dragons. I definitely do a dragons episode.
A dragon episode is definitely in there.
Yeah.
Now ogres, I don't know. That's a big if. Now that you brought that up.
What about goblins?
Goblins, yes, that's a thing.
What about orcs?
Oh, what? I'm just kidding.
Orc?
I'm just kidding.
Elves? I'm not freaking out,
dude. So I have.
What can your viewers look forward to in the coming?
So
time
I have.
Frame?
Let's see. I have stuff like Cyclops, incidences like deja vu.
Well, we know the answer. It's just the Matrix.
I mean, maybe. And then there's stuff like goblins, goatmen, gnomes, giants, Loveland frog.
The what?
The Loveland frog.
The Loveland frog?
Yes.
Was this the basis for Princess and the Frog, or?
I don't know.
It sounds horrifying, honestly.
In my research, for whatever reason, anytime I would type in cryptids, that's one of the ones that kept popping up. And then even I'm following Mythology, Folklore, stuff like that, cryptid pages, and that's one of those that pops up a lot. So I don't know.
You know what you should do an episode on? You remember that show on Cartoon Network? What the hell was it called? It wasn't called The X's. Remember that show where they hunt the family that hunts cryptids? I know you remember. I feel like you've seen this. Remember?
You want to know a fun fact?
You have no idea what I'm talking about?
That, and I'm also not a big fan of Cartoon Network. Hi. My name's Alison. I'm your host of Mysteries of the Paranormal, and, yeah. You're welcome, Mason.
You got 3 of those this episode, people.
What is that?
What the fuck is that?
We can't hear you, my dude. Oh, Mr. Mike.
No, it was a Cartoon Network show, but I'll find it later. Oh yeah, no, this one was actually like a pure kids cartoon. Yeah.
Come on, Mike.
You don't even know, so why are you getting mad at him? At least he's trying to research it.
Delocated?
Yeah. And look at me. I have a phone. I could easily look it up myself. I'm just lazy.
Yeah.
Is that the one you were thinking about was Delocated?
Yeah, so, just trying to cryptids.
Right, this was on.
Well, thank you for letting me come and ruin your show for you, Allison. I appreciate it.
I try.
Oh.
Maybe this one will surpass Mike's episode because Mike is apparently, he thinks he's the cool guy.
Yeah,
So-
but well, he is
fucking
cool.
produce.
Mike's very cool. I'm not just saying that because he's my boss. He's
Yeah.
actually a genuinely cool dude.
That one's debatable.
Yeah. I'm funnier, but he's still cool.
Give it another year and a half. Tell me what you feel like at that point. And by that point, I'll probably have a different opinion on him because I'll still have another year and a half on you. So, we'll figure it out.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And thanks for tuning in, everyone. Find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Mysteries of Paranormal, YouTube. Email me, mysteriesoftheparanormal@gmail.com. Bye. You can find this podcast at The Mysteries of the Paranormal on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Be sure to tune in every week for a brand new episode, wherever you get your podcast or at roguemedianetwork.com.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.